Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Listen carefully. When conflict becomes culture, we stop asking why we bleed. We simply bleed. Every day I watch the world glorify hatred, like it's an identity, like it's a badge of honor to carry wounds carved not by fate but by each other. India and Pakistan. Two names, one heartbeat, forever split by a memory of pain too old to fully remember and too young to ever forget. We speak of brotherhood in poetry and preach division in politics. We smile on camera and sharpen our swords in silence. Tell me what glory is there in a battle that never ends? If peace never arrived, it's not because we didn't know how to find it. It's because somewhere along the way we fell in love with our scars. We romanticized suffering, we turned revenge into ritual, and we made pride more sacred than progress. But let me ask you, what is pride if it costs you your future? What is victory if the battlefield is your home? Look around. A child in Lahore wants to play cricket just like a child in Delhi. A mother in Karachi prays for her son's safety just like a mother in Mumbai. The skies don't change color when they pass over a border. The rivers don't refuse to flow into another land. Nature has no enemies. Only humans do, and we have spent decades manufacturing them. You think missiles prove strength? No. True strength is restraint. Real power is not in how loud your war cry is. It's in how deeply you can sit in silence and still choose love over hatred. We've been taught that forgiveness is weakness. I say forgiveness is the most dangerous thing you can ever offer your enemy. Because it breaks the cycle, it burns the fuel, and it makes violence obsolete. But we never arrived at peace because we were too addicted to noise. Political noise, religious noise, generational noise. The kind of noise that tells you they are not like us, they can't be trusted, they must be watched, silenced, punished. And in that noise, we lost the music of humanity. I've played heroes on screen, I've stood in fake wars with makeup and lighting and music swelling behind me. But let me tell you something, there is nothing heroic about a real war. There is nothing noble about turning homes into graves and dreams into dust. The hero is the one who walks away from the fight and builds a bridge instead. The hero is the one who refuses to be swallowed by the history others wrote for him. So I ask, if peace never arrived, how long will we keep waiting? Another generation, another war, another decade of mistrust and missed opportunities? My name might be Shah Rukh Khan, but beyond that, I'm just a man who believes we are not destined to hate each other. I'm just a voice echoing the pain of millions who never asked to be born into division. And if you feel even 1 ounce of that pain, then don't wait for governments. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Be the voice. Be the bridge. Because if we don't choose peace now, we won't be remembered as great nations, we'll be remembered as great warnings. Let's not make that our legacy. Let's make it our turning point. They say we are born with history written on our backs, that we carry the echoes of partition in our blood, that anger and sorrow are inherited like property, handed down father to son, mother to daughter without question. And maybe that's true. Maybe the fire was not of our choosing. But what we do with that fire, that's on us. That's our chapter to write. I've seen what hatred does to people. It sharpens them into something they were never meant to be. It takes a warm heart and turns it cold. It takes open minds and locks them in cages of fear, pride, and propaganda. It replaces questions with slogans, dialogue with dogma, and love with suspicion. And worst of all, it makes that feel normal. But nothing about this is normal. It's not normal that a border drawn decades ago by hands that never bled for this soil decides who we can trust. It's not normal that we teach our children names of enemies before we teach them names of heroes. It's not normal that we feel powerful when someone else is brought to their knees. That's not strength. That's sickness dressed as nationalism. And I'm tired of being told that we don't have a choice, that this fight between India and Pakistan is eternal. Nothing is eternal except maybe the human desire to be free, to love, to be seen beyond the color of a passport or the prayer on our lips. That desire existed before borders, and it will outlive every wall we build. We inherited fire, yes, But fire can light or destroy. It can warm a home or burn it to the ground. The choice is not in the flame, it's in the hands that hold it. I've walked through the streets of Delhi and Lahore. I've seen the same eyes, the same dreams, the same laughter, the same longing to matter. Don't tell me we are enemies. Don't tell me we are too different to ever understand each other. We were the same people before someone told us we weren't. The only real enemy is the lie that we can't rise above this history. Do you know why the past keeps repeating? Because no one is brave enough to break the cycle. We look at our parents and mimic their fear, we hear their wounds and make them our anthem. But this isn't loyalty, it's laziness. It's cowardice. Real loyalty is when you take your ancestors' pain and turn it into progress. When you say, I see your suffering and I will not pass it on. I will not let your trauma become my children's truth. We must stop worshipping pain like it's a virtue. Suffering is not sacred. Peace is, growth is, dignity is. And those things do not come from revenge. They come from courage. The kind of courage that says, I will not allow the fire of history to blind me. I will walk into the light and pull as many people out of the dark as I can. This isn't about forgetting the past. No, never forget. Remember everything, the screams, the trains, the broken families, the promises shattered on both sides. But remember it to honor it, not to weaponize it. Let the pain teach you compassion, not vengeance. Let the grief teach you humility, not hatred. Because if we keep using history as a sword, we will have no future left to protect. I didn't grow up learning to hate anyone. I grew up watching stories. Stories that showed good and evil weren't always wearing uniforms. That sometimes your so-called enemy is the one who saves you. That the most human thing you can do is reach out when you've been taught to turn away. And maybe that's why I still believe. Maybe that's why I stand here and say this with fire in my voice and hope in my chest, because I've seen what love can do. I've seen it heal the unhealable. We keep saying peace is impossible, but you know what's truly impossible? Living like this forever. Living in a loop of fear, loss, suspicion, and violence. That is unsustainable. That is insanity. You want to protect your people? Then stop teaching them to hate. Stop feeding them enemies when they're starving for truth. Give them a future where they don't have to carry the burden of ancient grudges just to feel worthy. Somewhere along the way, we confused power with punishment. We started thinking that justice only happens when someone pays for the past. But real justice is not about payback. It's about progress. It's when you build something better out of the broken pieces. It's when you say, we have suffered enough, we have buried too many dreams, no more. And I know some of you are thinking, he's just an actor. He lives in stories, not reality. But let me tell you something. Stories are where the truth lives. Stories are where empathy is born. And if my voice, my art, my story can remind even one person that there's still a way forward, then it's more powerful than any weapon ever made. We inherited the fire, yes, but the light, it's ours to choose. We live in a time where silence has become expensive and noise has become currency. The louder you shout, the more you're heard. The more you threaten, the more you're respected. The more you hate, the more they call you loyal. But in all this thunder of slogans, gunshots and rage, something quieter is dying, a child's dream. Every bullet that leaves a barrel doesn't just tear through a body, it tears through possibility. It kills something far more dangerous than a man. It kills hope. That boy who wanted to be a scientist, that girl who saw herself standing on a world stage, that artist who could have drawn the soul of a nation, what happens to them when their skies are filled with smoke instead of stars? I've been part of stories where good triumphs over evil, where the hero defeats the villain. But in reality, the villain is not a man, it's a mindset. It's the system that rewards destruction and punishes compassion. And every time a war is waged in the name of justice, justice bleeds silently in the corner, unseen, unheard, forgotten. Tell me, how many Nobel laureates were lost to bullets? How many voices that could have changed the world were silenced before they even found their rhythm? How many dreams were buried in the soil, not because they lacked passion, but because they lived on the wrong side of a border, believed in the wrong God, or dared to imagine peace in a world addicted to conflict? We keep saying war is sometimes necessary, but who decides that? The ones who carry guns, or the ones who carry consequences? It's never the children of politicians who walk through landmines. It's never the generals who see their homes in rubble. It's always the nameless, the voiceless, the forgotten. But they had dreams too, dreams delayed with every bullet that pierces the earth. We glorify sacrifice, as if dying for a country is more noble than living for one. As if the measure of a man is how bravely he fights, not how boldly he forgives. As if martyrdom is the own. Every bullet delays a dream. A teacher silenced is a generation deprived. A doctor killed is a village abandoned. A student lost is a future unraveled. And yet we continue generation after generation, feeding our best minds to the fire of conflict. We say we're protecting them, but from what? From each other, or from the truth that we're too afraid to put the weapons down. I've walked on stages across the world. I've seen people of all religions, all nations, all shades come together in love, in art, in celebration. And I wonder if we can sit beside each other in a cinema and cry for a fictional character, why can't we cry for a real child in a real war zone? What happened to our empathy? What happened to the idea that a stranger's pain should matter even when it's across a line drawn on a map? We are building walls where we should be building bridges. We are defending borders more fiercely than we defend humanity. We have become obsessed with who is right instead of what is right. And in this obsession, we have abandoned the most innocent, the ones who never asked to be soldiers in this psychological war of propaganda and pride. When a bomb falls, it doesn't ask your religion. When a bullet hits, it doesn't ask for your political views. Death is impartial, but our rage is not. We choose who to mourn. We choose whose story deserves to be told. We choose whose life had value and whose death is just collateral damage. And that to me is the deepest wound of all. We talk of legacy. We talk of patriotism. But true legacy is not built in war rooms. It's built in classrooms. True patriotism is not chanting louder than the other side. It's creating a country so powerful in its peace that no enemy dare challenge it. A country where a child's dream is protected like national treasure. A nation where minds are nurtured, not manipulated. I don't want to see another generation grow up learning the sound of sirens before they hear a lullaby. They say a line on a map defines who we are, that a strip of land inked by history determines whether you are friend or foe, that once a border is drawn, empathy must end. I refuse to accept that. I refuse to believe that fences can divide souls, that rivers can carry only blood and not brotherhood, or that mountains should echo with artillery instead of laughter. Borders are made by men, but humanity that was made by something far greater. I've seen it with my own eyes, a mother in India crying for her son lost in war, and a mother in Pakistan doing the same, tears identical, grief indistinguishable. Their languages may differ, their flags may not match, but their pain, oh, their pain is universal. It doesn't need translation, it needs compassion. We are taught to protect our own, but who are our own? Only those who carry the same passport or those who carry the same heartbeat. We were not born with maps tattooed on our skin. A baby doesn't enter the world knowing which land it belongs to. It belongs to life. It belongs to love. It belongs to dreams that don't stop at checkpoints or customs. Dreams that don't show an ID before they fly. I know what people say. You don't understand, this is politics, this is war, this is legacy. But tell me, what kind of legacy are we leaving when we place bricks between people instead of building bridges between souls? What kind of politics teaches children that love is suspicious and kindness is betrayal? We say us versus them. But the truth is there is no them. There's only us, one human race, divided by illusions. We have different names for God, different rituals for prayer, different colors for mourning, but we all bleed the same red, all crave the same safety, and all want to be seen, not as threats but as people. The problem isn't the borders, it's the barbed wires in our minds. It's the inherited fear, the recycled hatred, the convenient ignorance. We're not protecting each other, we're imprisoning ourselves in the idea that someone across the line must be our enemy. And the saddest part, we pass this on, we give our children history books soaked in trauma, but deny them even a page of unity. You want to be a real soldier? Fight the war within you that tells you not to care about the suffering of someone who doesn't look like you, pray like you, or speak your tongue. You want to be a real patriot? Fight for a world where patriotism doesn't mean hating another flag, but loving yours enough to want peace over pride. I've played kings and rebels on screen. I've held swords and delivered grand lines about victory. But I'll tell you this, the real power isn't in conquering land. It's in conquering the fear that keeps us divided. The real revolution doesn't start with armies, it starts with empathy. And I don't speak this because it sounds good on a stage. I speak this because I've seen people break down at airports because a visa was denied. I've seen families separated for decades, writing letters like whispers through walls. I've seen talented children lose opportunities simply because of the side of a line they were born on. And every time I see it, I ask, how much longer will we worship the border and ignore the human? Love cannot be quarantined. Grief doesn't check your nationality. And kindness, it's the last sacred thing left in this chaotic world. Don't let a border steal that from you. Don't let anyone tell you that geography is destiny. There are people on the other side, yes, the other side, who are just like you, who want peace just like you, who want a good life for their children just like you. And when you realize that, truly realize that, something inside you breaks and something far more powerful begins to grow. That is the birth of human truth. You can wear your... We're living in a world where fear is no longer the shadow, it's become the architect. Nations are building policies around fear. People are raising children with fear. Leaders are gripping microphones fueled not by vision but by the terror of losing control. But let me tell you something from the depths of experience. Not just as an actor but as a man who has walked the lanes of love and hatred, peace and panic. Any future constructed on fear is already cracking. And one day it crumbles with the weight of its own deception. You cannot chain a soul with suspicion and expect it to dance. You cannot threaten minds into greatness. You cannot raise a generation under the shadow of war and wonder why they no longer see the light. When we build our tomorrow based on who we should hate today, we create a ticking bomb of bitterness. And one day when it explodes, no one is spared. Not the guilty, not the innocent, not the brave, not the blind. Fear is not a protector, it's a thief. It steals reason, it poisons ambition, and it burns the bridges that humanity desperately needs to survive. I have seen people freeze in front of opportunity because they were told don't trust them. I have seen talent rot behind borders because someone decided their birthplace was a threat. I have seen dreams aborted because a flag they didn't choose was used as a weapon against their worth. We've turned caution into a religion, and we've worshipped it so blindly that even compassion has started to look like treason. Fear sells fast. It's easy, it spreads quicker than truth. But the problem is fear never creates. It only destroys. You want to build a strong country? Don't build it on the fear of another nation. Build it on the courage to educate every child, the dignity to respect every worker, the strength to feed every soul. That's real power. Not bombs, not tanks, not missiles. The loudest nation isn't the strongest. The wisest one is, I've been told. Be careful what you say.